Hello everyone, hey RG, back with some more hockey with Franchise Hockey Manager 8. And today we are going to continue yet again our quest towards hopefully the Stanley Cup sooner rather than later. Alright, so prior to coming live, I tried for the millionth time to trade for Gary Suter. I'm starting to feel like I have some form of an obsession with the player. I just can't get him. I tried to use the extra picks that I got from Philadelphia and Detroit, nothing. And then I tried to go and get Rob Blake because I know it would make JT Dutch happy at the very least. And same deal, I cannot make the deal happen. So then I was like, well, I threw my hands in the air, I cried a little, and then I was like, well, I'll do something. So I signed the player from my bottom six. It's not a defense, it's my D that needs help, but there's no decent D available that I can sign anywhere or acquire. So I signed a player named Gary Valk. Those of you familiar with that kind of time period in hockey might remember him. Definitely didn't sign him to fill the net. That's probably not what he's going to do, but he should help on the bottom six at the very least. Might probably kill penalties, I would think. So he's a 12 in a few different defensive forward categories, so that allows me to send Frank Bro down in the minors, which he turned into an alpha star player anyway. So that gives me that gives my team maybe a little bit more, leeway there up front. So he's a 12 in two-way forward, up and down winger, grinder, aggressive forechecker, back checking forward, and shadow. So not so much in the offensive categories, but you need guys that can play defense on a team, so hopefully he helps out with that. Of course, still looking for a better D. But anyway, alright, so we are still third in the conference. We have tightened the gap a little bit with the Flames, who are first, so hopefully we can come closer even this month. Looks like January is gonna be ridiculously busy. I'm seeing a lot of 2 games in 2 nights there, so looks like it's gonna be pretty busy. We're starting on the road and a few home games, and then on the road again. Then again, December was a very home heavy schedule, so hopefully we can kind of turn things around a little bit. It was another one of those months where I started slow and then finished kind of strong, but I feel like I'm having a hard time getting Wayne Gretzky to get started there. Maybe I should trade him. I mean, he was traded from the Kings, so, it wouldn't be something that was completely unheard of. So, anyway. Alright, so we are fairly healthy. Glenn Healy got hurt for the second time off ice. I don't know what the fuck he's doing, but he needs to stop doing it. He's only day-to-day, so Mark Fitzpatrick has been recalled, which probably will be a very small consequence since Arthur's Airbase started 100% of the games in December. I have a feeling we're going to continue to go that route. I don't know. But anyway, so let's get things going. We don't play today. Today is January 1st. And Gary Valk joined immediately after I offered him a contract. So there's no negotiation or anything like that. He's on the team already. Bruce McNall is still satisfied. We went 8-3 last month, and it still feels like, we were underwhelming. I'm telling you, it's Wayne Gretzky. He's good, but he's not dominating like we know he can. We're not seeing 4 and 5 point games from him anymore. Alright, so we are starting in the state of New York. We are at Madison Square Garden today to play against the Rangers. Rangers are 19-17-5 this season. We are 0-2 against the Rangers. We have not won a single game against them this season. Looks like my cats are kind of awake but trying to sleep, so Gonna have to keep an eye on that if I see that they want to get out. Alright, so the calendar year flips over, so go Kings go, of course, and Artus Airbase is going to be in net for us. John Van Beesbrook is going to be in net for the Rangers. Come on, we can beat the Rangers. Road team, I'm telling you, man, we're really good on the road. 4-2 victory at Madison Square Garden for the Kings. We outshot the Rangers 38-35. Randy Ladouceur was the first star of the game. He had 2 assists. Jason Lafreniere was the second star with an assist, and Alexei Gusarov was the third star with a goal. Rangers scored first in the first period, then Mike Gartner scored from Ken Baumgartner and Luc Robitaille. It was tied at 1 after 1. There was a fight between James Patrick and Gerald Deduck. Nobody scored in the second. Then in the third, Alexander Mogilny scored from Randy Wood and Gord Deneen. Then Alexei Gusarov from Scott Arniel and Randy Ladouceur. It was 3-1. Rangers made it 3-2. And then Ray Shepard finished that in an empty net with 4 seconds left to go in the game from Randy Ladouceur, and it was a 4-2 victory. Alright. There was no stopping Stéphane Richer of Montreal. 3 goals and 2 assists against the Oilers. Excellent passing leads to productive night for Ray Ferraro. He had 2 goals and 5 assists against the Canucks. Pretty good game. Sylvain Turgeon keeps fans on their feet all night. He had 4 goals and 2 assists in that same game. Yeah, another pretty decent game. Big game for Theo Fleury. He had 4 goals against the Jets. Another pretty decent game. Alright, and my new players. Alright, and we don't have a whole lot of time to think about things. We are right back at it. We are now in Uniondale to play against the Islanders at the Nassau Veterans Memorial Coliseum. We are 0-1 and why it says 0-2, but that is incorrect. We lost in overtime, so we haven't won against the Islanders this season, and the Islanders are not that great. They are 16, 19, and 4, so we need to turn that around. So playing in New York against the Islanders, Mark Fitzpatrick is getting a very rare start there, probably because it's 2 games in 2 nights, and then Mark Lefort is going to be in net for the Islanders. Go Kings! And we lost 5-1. That is terrible. We couldn't beat Mark Lefort. That's bad. We outshot the Islanders 32-29. Greg Gilbert was the first star of the game. He had a goal and an assist. Mark Lefort was the second star with 31 saves. And Steve Conroy was the third star with a goal and an assist. Alright, so Islanders scored in the first, made it 1-0. Then there was a fight between Pat Flatley and Gerald Deduck. Then in the second period, they scored 4 straight goals. And then before the end of the period, Gary Galley scored on the power play from Randy Wood and Sylvain Couturier. It was 5-1 Islanders after 2. And of course, nobody scored in the third. And there was another fight between Pat Flatley and Randy Ladouceur. And that was the end of the game. Not a good game for the Kings. And Jeff Smith is hurt, but he is day-to-day, so that's okay. He has a serious facial cut. Yikes. Alright, so we have a day off, and then we're going to be in Toronto to play against the Leafs. Alright, Washington's Kelly Buckberger is suspended. He's going to miss 1 game. Good game for Tim Kerr. He had 3 goals and an assist in that same game against the Washington Capitals. Glenn Ely is feeling better, and is Laurie Boschman about to be moved? Alright, so Wayne Gretzky does not have a point in January so far, and we played 2 games. Things to ponder a little. Alright, so Toronto is 10-28-3. That's dead last in the conference. We are 0-1 against them. Last time out, that was our first game of December and we lost. So hopefully we can win this one here on the road. Artus Irbe is going to be in net for the Kings. Troy Gamble is going to be in net for the Leafs. Go Kings, come on. A 6-3 victory there. There you go. That's more like it. We outshot Toronto 46-29. Dan Gratton was the first star of the game. He had a goal and an assist. Alexander McGillney was the second star with a goal and an assist. And Scott Arniel was the third star with an assist. The Leafs opened up the scoring in the first period, and then Randy Ladouceur scored from Mike Gartner and Wayne Gretzky, and then Alexander McGillney from Gary Gagne and Scott Arniel. It was 2-1 Kings after one. Then in the second period, Wayne Gretzky scored from Mike Gartner and Gary Gagne. Then Randy Ladouceur scored on the power play. It was his fifth of the season from Randy Wood and Dan Gratton, and then Gary Valk scored his first NHL goal from Gerald Dedock and Sylvain Couturier. It was 5-1 at that point. The Leafs scored, made it 5-2. Then we headed into the third period. Dan Gratton scored his fifth from Alexander McGillney and Jeff Smith, and then the Leafs scored, made it 6-3, but too little, too late. A 3-goal lead and a win for the Kings. Alright, Kelly Buchberger is already done with his suspension. Jake Caulfield is back from suspension with Montreal. Terry Simpson might lose his job with the Islanders. They just beat us, but they're still not satisfied over there. They are now 17-20-4. Mark Howe got his 500th assist of his career. He got a goal and an assist against the Islanders. And Glenn Ely is almost ready. And we are now in Chicago to play against the Hawks. Chicago is 22-18-4. That is good for 4th in the conference. We are 0-1 against Chicago this season. Mark Fitzpatrick is going to be back in net for the Kings. Ed Belfour is going to be in net for the Hawks. Come on, Kings, let's go. Let's give Mark Fitzpatrick a W here. We won 5-3. Alright, 5-3 victory here on the Blackhawks. We outshot Chicago 46-26. Mike Ridley was the first star of the game. He had 2 goals and an assist. Dart Graham was the second star with an assist, and Alexei Gusarov was the third star with 2 assists. Mike Gartner opened up the scoring in the first from Luc Robitaille and Wayne Gretzky. Then Rick Green scored from Mike Ridley and Randy Ladouceur. And then Mike Ridley from Alexei Gusarov and Randy Ladouceur. It was 3-0 Kings here after one. There was also a fight between Dave Manson and Mike Ridley. I feel sorry for Mike Ridley there. And then Wayne Presley and Gord Deneen face punched each other as well. Then in the second period, the Hawks scored twice, so it was 3-2 Kings at that point. Then Luc Robitaille scored from Alexei Gusarov and Wayne Gretzky. It was 4-2 for the Kings after 2. And then in the third, we traded goals. The Hawks scored to come to within 1, but late in the game, Mike Ridley scored from Ray Shepherd and Scott Arniel, and that was a 5-3 victory. 2 fights, Wayne Presley and Gerald Dedock, and then Dave Manson and Gord Deneen. Ron Duguay got hurt, but it is a day-to-day injury, so we're not going to worry too much about it. Right, Glenn Ely is completely back. That's good. So I need to bring him back, huh? Oh, I can't. 6 more days. Alright, we have a day off, and then we're going to be playing 3 straight games at home, and it's going to start tomorrow against the Hartford Whalers. Right, so Steve Tsujiura is on waivers, and Pat Elenak is not suspended with Winnipeg. Alright, so Hartford is in town. We are 19, 18, and 5, so that's decent, but that's not as good as last year, so it looks like they're struggling a little bit. We are 0-1 against Hartford this season, so a win here would be pretty neat. Mike Liut is going to be in net for Hartford. We're going to go with Artus Irbe. And it's a 2-2 tie. It's against a decent team. Let's see the shots and everything. Yeah, we got outshot, so I'm not going to be too upset about it. At home, you want the W usually, but yeah, it happens. All right, so we were outshot 31-28 in that one. Alexander McGillney was the first star of the game. He had a goal. Sylvain Turgeon was the second star with 2 assists, and Jeff Smith was the third star with an assist. We had a sellout crowd of 15,604. Hartford scored twice in the first period. They were up 2-0 after one. Then in the second period, Ray Shepard scored his 20th on the power play from Luc Robitaille and Mike Gartner. It was 2-1 Hartford after 2. Then in the third period, Alexander McGillney tied the game fairly late in the game from Scott Arneal and Jeff Smith. Tied at 2. There was a fight between Randy Ladouceur and Jim Vesey. And then, of course, nobody scored in overtime, although we had a few fights. Randy Ladouceur and Torrey Robertson. And then Gerald Deduck and Kevin Deneen. Very quiet month for Gretzky. Gerald Deduck is hurt. Wow, I have a lot of players that are day-to-day. Alright, couple days off. Hopefully that's gonna help with injuries here. Memorable night for Jeff Brown. He had 5 assists against the Bruins. That's indeed a pretty good game. Kem Neely keeps fans on their feet all night. In that same game, he had a hat-trick. Red light stays on for Walt Podobny with Quebec, so he as well had a great game. 3 goals and 2 assists in that game. And Ron Duguay is almost recovered. Alright, so Ron Duguay is completely recovered, so that's good. And now we're going to be hosting the Buffalo Sabres. Sabres are 20, 19, and 3 this season, so that's pretty decent. We are 0-1 against them. Only game we played against them was a tie. So we're going to go ahead and see if we can win this one here. Tom Barrasso is going to be in net for Buffalo. We're going to go with Artus Irbe. Go Kings, come on. 5-3 victory, and we will take it. Oh yeah, we outshot Buffalo 41-19 in that one. Mike Gartner was the first star of the game. He had a hat-trick, 3 goals. Kelly Johansson was the second star with a goal and an assist. And Gerald Deduck was the third star with 2 assists. Sellout crowd yet again. Mike Gartner opened up the scoring in the first from Luc Robitaille and Wayne Gretzky. Then he scored again. That was his 25th of the season from Luc Robitaille and Gerald Deduck. Then Scott Arneal scored from Mike Ridley and Gord Deneen. It was 3-0 at that point. Then Buffalo scored, made it 3-1 before the end of the period. Heading into the second period, Mike Gartner completed his hat-trick from Mike Ridley and Gerald Deduck. Then Buffalo scored, and then Dan Gratton scored from Alexander McGillney and Sylvain Couturier. 5-2 for the Kings. After 2, there was a fight between Ken Baumgartner and Gart Butcher. Then in the third period, Buffalo scored. It was 5-3, but they ran out of gas, and that was a 2-goal lead and victory for the Kings. Yet again, another quiet game for Wayne Gretzky. I don't know what to do for him. Mike Gartner has a memorable game. As we say, he had a hat-trick. Passes on point for Craig Janney. He had 4 assists against Quebec. Joe Sakic extends his goal streak to 5 games with 2 goals in that same game. Gaetan Duchesne is back from suspension with Quebec, back in the lineup, and Gerald Deduck is completely recovered from his injury. Alright, 1 day off, and then we're going to be hosting the Vancouver Canucks. Randy Hillier has been put on waivers by Chicago and So did Steve Tsujira. Yeah, Randy Hillier is not capable anymore. Even if he's a one-star player, he's no higher than an 8 in anything, so I'm not gonna take him. Dave Gagne is on the trade block. Wow. Alright, so Minnesota has put Dave Gagne on the trading block. Let's see if I can get something going here. Because I can go for him. His last name starts with G, right? So I'm at least gonna... Let's see, alright. Oh, they have a weakness everywhere except at center. Alright. So I am going to offer Wayne Gretzky. No, I am not going to offer Wayne Gretzky, but I can offer Mark Fitzpatrick. I can offer Mike Ridley. And maybe the Flyers first. Wow. Okay, not the Flyers first. What about the Red Wings first? Nope. What about my first? Nope. Alright, they want too much. Well, let's see. I doubt that it's gonna work, but... They have no interest in my junk. Yeah, I think they want too much for Dave Gagne, so I'm gonna have to say, you know what, I don't think that's gonna work out. Let me try this again. Okay. I could, I could maybe get to Stuart Gavin or Ryan Walter. Oh, really? Yeah, they want too much for Dave Gagne. It would have been nice, but yeah, I'm not willing to offer much more than that. So we'll have to deal without Dave Gagne. We'll find another deal somewhere, maybe some other time. Plus, it's another forward. I really need some D. But yeah, line at center of Gretzky, Gagne, Mike Ridley falling off to the third line, and then, you know, whoever on the fourth line would have been pretty good, I think. But... all right, so we are hosting the Canucks. Canucks are 13-29-4. That's 9th in the conference, and we are 3-0 against the Canucks this season. Kirk McLean is going to be in net for the Canucks. Artus Irby is going to be in net for us. Go Kings! Come on! Oh, the Kings were affected by the rumors of trades in the dressing room, and we got completely massacred by the Canucks 7-3. That's a very sad state of affairs right there. We outshot the Canucks 35-32. Trevor Linden was the first star of the game. He had 4 goals and an assist. Greg Adams was the second star with 2 assists, and Petri Strico was the third star with 2 assists as well. Full out crowd here in Inglewood. Canucks scored first, then Ray Shepherd scored short-handed from Randy Wood and Rick Green. Then the Canucks scored again. It was 2-1 Vancouver after 1. Then in the second period, Luke Robitaille scored from Mike Gartner and Mike Ridley. Then Wayne Gretzky from Scott Arniel and Ray Shepherd. It was 3-2 Kings at that point. Then the Canucks tied the game before the end of the period. It was tied at 3 heading into the second period, and the Canucks scored 4 goals in the third period, and that was a 7-3 massacre. Randy Ladouceur and Brian Bradley got into a fight, and then Andrew Castles and Mike Hartman as well. Great night for Trevor Linden. He had 4 goals and an assist, as we saw. Strong night for Dave Andreychuk with Buffalo. He had a hat-trick against Minnesota. Dino Ciccarelli has a memorable game in Minnesota. He had a hat-trick. Suspension for Bruce Cassidy, defenseman for the Islanders. He is going to miss 6 games. Anton Stastny has recorded 300 goals in his career with a goal against the St. Louis Blues. Anton Stastny is 31 and a 2.5-star player. Joe Sakic in that same game had a great game. He had 4 goals and an assist. Wow. And that was 6 straight games with at least a goal for Joe Sakic. Now we have a day off, and then we're going to be in New Jersey to play against the Devils. Oh, I get to have Glenn Ely back. That means that I get to send Mark Fitzpatrick down. Steve Larmer has a great game. Alright, he had a hat-trick against Minnesota. And we are playing in New Jersey. Devils are 20-19-7. We are 1-0 against the Devils this season. We beat them 5-3 at home. Artus Irby is going to be in net for us. Sean Burke in net for the Devils. Go Kings! A 4-2 win. Perfect. We outshot New Jersey 42-31. Wayne Gretzky was the first star of the game. He had 2 goals. Yvon Kogivo was the second star with an assist. And Alexander Mogilny was the third star with a goal and an assist. Wayne Gretzky opened up the scoring in the first. That was his 25th of the season from Scott Arniel and Ron Duguay. Then the Devils tied the game. It was tied at 1 after 1. Let's see, a couple fights here. Ken Ammon and Ken Baumgartner got into a fight, and David Bruce and Ray Shepherd as well. So tied at 1 after 1, and in the second period, Randy Wood scored on the power play from Dan Gratton and Alexander Mogilny, and then the Devils tied the game again, tied at 2 here after 2. Then in the third period, Wayne Gretzky scored shorthanded from Mike Ridley, make it 3-2 Kings, and then Alexander McGillney scored his 15th in an empty net from Scott Arniel and Rick Green, and it was a 4-2 victory. Big game for former LA King Chris Cantos with his new team, the Detroit Red Wings. He had 4 assists against Boston. Strong night for Dave Andreychuk in Buffalo. He had 3 goals and 2 assists against the Toronto Maple Leafs. And Pierre Turgeon has a memorable game in Buffalo as well. He had 4 assists in that same game. Alright, one day off, and then we're going to be in Hartford to play against the Whalers. Oh, Pat Burns might be losing his job as the Montreal Canadiens coach. Montreal is 19-27-2, so not doing too good in Montreal this season. Cam Neely extends his goal streak to 5. He had a goal against the Islanders. Great night for Cliff Running with the Blues. He had 4 assists against Washington. And Jeff Smith is within sight of returning for the Kings. That's good. Right, playing in Hartford against the Whalers. Whalers are 22-18-6. So that's a pretty decent record. We are 0-1-1 against Hartford this season. Come on, Kings. Let's go. Arthur's Irby in net. Jeff Reese in net for the Whalers. 7-2 victory, that's what I'm talking about. We haven't had those high-scoring games in a while. Right, we outshot the Whalers 31-25. Wayne Gretzky was the first star of the game. He had a goal and 2 assists. Mike Gartner was the second star with a goal and an assist. And Rick Green was the third star with a goal and an assist. Rick Green has been producing offensively. I was really not expecting that by picking him up from the waiver draft. I mean, I'll take it, obviously, but I wasn't expecting for him to put up points. Now, he's not like putting a point per game or anything like that, but he's been producing, so... And in fact, he scored the first goal of the game from Alexander McGillney and Scott Arniel, then Gary Valk from Alexei Gusarov and Wayne Gretzky, and then Mike Gartner from Gary Valk and Wayne Gretzky. It was 3-0 for the Kings at that point. Then Hartford scored 3-1 Kings after 1. Then in the second period, Wayne Gretzky scored from Andrew Castles and Rick Green. Then Gary Galley scored his 10th on the power play from Gary Valk and Mike Ridley. Alexei Gusarov scored his 5th from Mike Gartner and Andrew Castles. It was 6-1. Hartford scored, make it 6-2 after 2. And then in the third period, Ray Shepard scored from Randy Wood and Mike Ridley. It was a 7-2 victory for the Kings. Very decisive game. I like that. And Jeff Smith is completely recovered from his injury. Alright, we are now in Boston to play the Bruins. Looks like the Bruins are not performing up to expectations for a second season in a row here. They are 18-25-5. And we are 1-0 against Boston this season. We beat them 7-2 back home earlier this season. Glenn Ely is going to be in net for us, and he's going to be facing Reggie Lemelin. And it's a 3-1 loss for the Kings. I forgot to say go Kings go, so we know how that works. We outshot Boston 26-25. Craig Ludwig of Boston fame. Was the first star of the game. He had a goal and an assist. Luc Robitaille was the second star with an assist, and Cam Neely was the third star with 2 assists. Rick Green opened up the scoring in the first yet again. That was his 5th of the season on the power play from Luc Robitaille and Randy Ladouceur. It was 1-0 Kings after 1, but Boston scored twice in the second period, make it 2-1. There was a fight between Neil Winkinson and Randy Ladouceur, and then in the third period, Boston added another goal, made it 3-1, and that was that. Larry Robinson got 750 assists in his career. He had an assist against the St. Louis Blues. Larry Robinson is 39 years old and he is still a 3-star player. Good game for Brettel with the Blues. He had a hat-trick, 3 goals in that same game against Montreal. And Bill Ranford extended for 2 years in Edmonton, so $465,000 per season. Right, we have 4 days off, and then we're going to be in Edmonton to play against the Oilers. What will Minnesota do with Mo Manta? I don't know. Mo Manta has been put on the block. Oh, I think that was the All-Star break. That's why I didn't have a game for 4 days, and there's no other games in the league either. And somehow Alexei Gusarov got hurt, and he's not going to be able to play. He's day-to-day. Groin soreness. Yeah. Alright, so he's day-to-day, so I'm not going to put him on the injured reserve, but yeah. Alright, we are in Edmonton to play against the Oilers. Oilers are 19-23-3 this season. That's good for 7th in the conference. We are 3-0-1 against the Oilers this season, so we're doing pretty good as far as that goes. At least against them, we are doing okay. Alright, so we're going to need to play here without Alexei Gusarov for a few days. Artis Irbe is going to be in net for the Kings. Hopefully he's well rested. Bill Ranford is going to be in net for the Oilers now with a brand new contract in his back pocket. Go Kings! And it's a 9-4 win. That's the trick. I have to say go Kings, and usually that works. Right, so Bill Ranford literally sat on his contract now that he signed, and that's a nice 9-4 victory. We outshot Edmonton 45-27. Wayne Gretzky was the first star of the game. He had a goal and 3 assists. Gary Gagne was the second star with a goal and 2 assists, and Dan Gratton was the third star with 3 assists. Alright, Wayne Gretzky opened up the scoring in the first from Mike Gartner and Randy Ladouceur. Then Gary Gagne scored on the power play from Wayne Gretzky, and then Ray Shepherd from Gary Gagne and Wayne Gretzky. It was 3-0 Kings after 1. Then in the second period, Edmonton scored, made it 3-1. Then Scott Arniel scored his 10th from Alexander Mogilny and Dan Gratton. And then the Oilers scored twice to make it 4-3. But we added 3 more goals before the end of the period. Scott Arniel scored from Dan Gratton and Gary Gagne. Luc Robitaille scored his 20th from Mike Gartner and Wayne Gretzky. Ray Shepherd scored from Randy Wood and Gerald Daduk. 7-3 Kings after 2. And there were a couple fights, Steve Smith and Gord Deneen, and then Basil McRae and Randy Ladouceur. And then my neighbor is doing something that I don't know what it is, but yeah, sorry about that. Then the Kings scored 2 goals in the third period. Ken Baumgartner scored his first of the season from Gary Valk and Andrew Castles. Then Luc Robitaille from Alexander Mogilny and Dan Gratton made it 9-3. Oilers scored to make it 9-4, but that was the end of the game. It was still a very comfortable 5-goal lead. And we won 9-4. Well, that's kind of annoying. I don't know what else to do. I'm sure my microphone is picking that up. I don't know what he's doing out there. Sure, he's not mowing. It's, December 19th. I don't know. Alright, Ken Daneko is suspended in New Jersey. He's going to miss 5 games. Randy Cunnywort is not suspended in Pittsburgh. He's been looked at but not suspended. And Mario Lemieux had a memorable game. He had a hat-trick against the Devils with 3 goals. Alright, we have a couple of days off and then we're going to be in Vancouver to play against the Canucks. Craig Mctavish is injured in Edmonton. He's going to miss 6 months with a broken bone in the elbow. See you next season, Craig McTavish. Alright, Phil Housley has recorded 600 points in his career. He had 2 goals against the Blackhawks. Phil Housley is 26 years old and he is a 4.5 star player. Brian Propp has recorded 900 points in his career. He had an assist against Washington. Brian Propp is 31 and he is still a 4-star player. And Alexei Gusarov is back soon, maybe. Alright, we are in Vancouver, so we have a home and home against the Canucks. Actually, it's back-to-back and home and home. It's 2 games in 2 nights. So in Vancouver today and back in LA tomorrow. We have 3 games left here in January. Canucks are now 15, 30, and 4. Which is good for 9th in the conference. Of course, they shellacked us 7-3 last time we played them. It was just a little bit ago. So I'm looking to beat them. We are 3-1 this season. Artis Earbay is going to be in net for us. Kirk McLean is going to be in net for the Canucks. Go Kings! A 4-2 victory. We are a road team. Alright. Once the playoffs start, give the home ice advantage to the other team. We feel at home on the road, apparently. Alright, we outshot Vancouver 36-30. Wayne Gretzky was the first star with a game. He had a goal and 2 assists. Jaromir Jagr was the second star with a goal. And Gary Gagne was the third star with 2 assists. Canucks opened up the scoring in the first period. It was 1-0, but then we scored 3 goals in the second period. Mike Gartner scored on the power play from Ray Shepherd and Wayne Gretzky. Then Randy Wood from Wayne Gretzky and Rick Green. And then Wayne Gretzky on the power play from Gary Gagne and Mike Gartner. It was a 3-1 lead for the Kings after 2. Barry Peterson and Randy Ladouceur got into a fight in the second period, and then Stan Schmill and Randy Ladouceur fought as well a little bit later. And then in the third period, the Canucks scored, made it 3-2, and then Alexander McGillney scored from Gary Gagne and Scott Arniel, made it 4-2, and that was our final score today, 4-2 victory for the Kings. Good game for Steve Yzerman. He had 4 assists against the Blues. Pretty good game indeed. And then rumor has Minnesota moving Stuart Gavin. Alright. Not as impactful as Dave Gagne, unless we're talking about face punching. Alright, and then we're back home to face the Vancouver Canucks. We just played them, literally. So pretty much the same stats and whatnot, except we have 1 more win, they have 1 more loss, and we are 4-1 against them this season. Let's see if back home we can win again. Frank Pietrangelo is going to be in net for Vancouver. We're going to go with Glenn Healy. Go Kings! And we lost 4-3 back home. We lost. We're a road team for some reason. Alright, we outshot the Canucks 37-35. Jaromir Jagr was the first star of the game. He had a hat-trick, 3 goals. Wayne Gretzky was the second star with a goal and an assist. And Brian Bradley was the third star with 2 assists. We had a sellout crowd yet again. Gary Gagne opened up the scoring in the first period from Wayne Gretzky and Luc Robitaille. Then the Canucks tied the game. And then Mike Ridley scored from Sylvain Couturier and Alexander McGillney. It was a 2-1 lead for the Kings after 1. And in the second period, the Canucks tied the game, and then Wayne Gretzky scored his 30th from Rick Green and Luc Robitaille. It was 3-2. Kings after 2. Then there was some fighting. Jeff Smith and Gord Donnelly, Ron Duguay and Doug Lidster, Ken Baumgartner and Bob McGill. All those people fought with enthusiasm. And then the Canucks scored 2 more goals in the third period, tied the game and then took the lead. And we could never tie it, so we lost 4-3. Jeff Smith and Gord Donnelly got at it again in the third period. Alright, memorable game for Jaromir Jagr. He had a hat-trick, as we saw. Excellent passing leads to productive night for Dave Manson with the Hawks. He had a goal and 4 assists against Toronto. Not what we know Dave Manson for. Memorable game for Steve Thomas with Chicago as well. He had 4 assists. Paul Coffey extends his assist streak to 8 games. He had an assist against the Nordiques. Zardy Zalapski has a memorable game. He had a hat-trick, 3 goals in that same game against the Nordiques. And memorable game for Adam Oates in Detroit. He had a goal and 5 assists against the St. Louis Blues. Wow, that's a few games like that we've seen Adam Oates have. We haven't seen really Wayne Gretzky having those this season. Alright, we have 3 more days off, and then we're going to be playing against the Devils at home, and that's going to be our last game of the month. Kevin Hatcher is suspended in Washington. He's going to miss 4 games. Bruce Cassidy is back from suspension with the Islanders, back in the lineup over there. Alexei Gusarov is almost recovered, and then we have a trade proposal from the Washington Capitals. They are offering us Dwayne Hutton for Frank Bro. Now, I cannot trade for Dwayne Hutton, so I will have to say no. But I would have gone and tried to build a bigger trade out of that, maybe. Alright, Paul Coffey extends his point streak to 12 games with a goal against Washington. His assist streak ended at 8 games though, because he didn't get an assist in that one. Excellent passing leads to productive night for Mario Lemieux. He had 5 assists against Washington in that same game. Mark Recchi extends his point streak to 12 games in that same game as well. He had 3 assists. And Gusarov is completely recovered. That's good. We kind of need him. Alright, so New Jersey is in town. They are now 21, 24, and 7. And we are 2-0 against the Devils this season. We did beat them in New Jersey earlier 4-2. Let's see if we can beat them again. Sean Burke in net for the Devils. Artus Irby in net for us. And it's a 6-0 victory, despite me forgetting to say go Kings go. Right, we were outshot 29-27 in that 6-0 win. Artus Irby was the first star of the game, 29 saves, the W, the SO, the 1000 save percentage or 100 save percentage, all of that. Alexander McGillney was the second star with 2 goals and an assist, and Scott Arniel was the third star with 3 assists. Set out crowd here in Inglewood for this game. Mike Gartner scored in the first period from Luc Robitaille and Wayne Gretzky, 1-0 Kings after 1. We also had a fight between Randy Ladouceur and Pat Verbeek. In the second period, Alexander McGillney scored from Dan Gratton and Scott Arniel, and then he scored again about 4 minutes later from Dan Gratton and Scott Arniel again, and then Randy Wood scored from Alexander McGillney and Rick Green, 4-0 Kings after 2. And in the third period, Ray Shepard scored his 25th from Randy Wood and Mike Ridley, and then Ray Shepard again from Jeff Smith and Scott Arniel, 6-0 Kings. That was the final score. Pretty solid game to end the month. January scouting, don't really care. Right, and we are now the 31st. We're going to sim one more day so that we are February 1st. Kerry Wilson has been put on waivers by the Montreal Canadiens. Memorable night for Joe Sakic. He had 4 assists against the Buffalo Sabres. Paul Coffey extends his point streak to 13 games. He had 2 assists against the Flyers. Mark Recchi's point streak ended at 12 games. No point in that game for him. Lee Norwood is out 5 months with an injury. For the Rangers defenseman suffered a fractured coracoid bone in his shoulder. So that's pretty much season over for Lee Norwood. Our players that sold the most jerseys: Wayne Gretzky, Mike Gartner, Luc Robitaille, Glenn Healy, and Mike Ridley. And in the NHL, Gretzky scored the 4th more, and Gartner was 17th, and Robitaille was 18th. And the players of the month were Doug Gilmour and Artus Irbe. So we get the Goaltender of the Month award. Gonna go ahead and save where we're at. Alright, so at the end of, or at the start of February, I should say, we are still sitting 3rd in the conference. We are now 6 points behind the Flames with 1 game on. So it looks like we're struggling to just like go for the kill, literally. We have no injuries, so at least there we have that going for us. We are healthy. Oops. Let's take a look at the other conference. And so in the Wales conference, Montreal and Quebec are struggling, and they might both miss the playoffs. The province of Quebec is going to be in total sorrow or something. It's wow. And then the Devils look like they might also miss the playoffs. In our conference, it's Vancouver and Toronto. That sounds about right. So wow, out of 5 teams missing the playoffs, 4 of them would be Canadian teams. That's not good. That's not good at all. Alright, now let's take a look at our stats. So Gretzky is first on our team, 78 points in 51 games. Gartner is second, 65 in 51. Robitaille, 59 in 51. McGillney, 44 in 51. Ray Shepherd, 42 in 51. Gary Galley, 41 in 49. And then it just goes down from there. Rick Green, 26 points in 48 games. Not too shabby. I wasn't expecting that at all when I picked him up. I think I even made jokes about him. Who's laughing now? Maybe I am. Alright. The best goal scorer in the league is Brettel. He has 40. So 40 goals for the Golden Brett. The best passer is Adam Oates. He has 58. The best scorer is Adam Oates with 81. Oh, Gretzky climbed back a little bit. He's 3rd now with 78. For the goaltenders, Artus Irbe leads with 30 wins. He's 2nd with on save percentage with 914, and he sits atop the league for goal saves above average with 22.83. That's more than 6 more goals saved than Darren Prupo is 2nd. So Artus Irbe has been dynamite, folks. He is deserving of the Vizina for sure. Alright, we are going to go ahead and save the game again. I'm gonna go ahead and stop here for today. I thought that maybe I would go for 2 and do 2 months, but chat's a little quiet and everything, so I'll just go ahead and stop here. So next time out, we're gonna be doing February. So as usual, I want to thank you for tuning in, and if you're watching this on YouTube and you like the video, please feel free to like, subscribe, share, comment, all of that good stuff. And until I roll this game again, I'll see you folks next time. Thank you.